Good afternoon, everyone. This is our week 5, and in this week, we're going to talk about perfect competition and monopoly. We'll be discussing on this week. So our topic would include this: 4 major market structure and the degrees of competition, large number of firms and perfect competition, pricing and output decisions under perfect competition. We'll talk about equilibrium in a perfectly competitive firm and market in the short run and long run. All right, so equilibrium we'll talk about from farm and market perspective, and then we'll talk about short and long run too. Then we'll talk about monopoly and price maker, and then we'll talk about profit maximization under monopoly, and monopoly versus perfect competition will be a difference between these two. We'll be discussing. All right, today we don't have very long class. Lecture slides are not that many, but I will try my level best. And also we will discuss, if we have time, we can discuss about assignment as well. So here is our 4 different types of market structure. Okay, what are these market structure? Let's copy this and let me show you guys these things in better view. All right, so here is our 4 different types. Hope is this clean enough so you guys can. Okay, here it is. All right, so we have 4 different types of market structure, how the market are being built. One is that perfect competition. Then it is about monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopoly. And here, interesting thing is that this one is perfect competition, is this one, perfect competition. Okay. Except the first one, all 3, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, monopoly, duopoly, all these things are actually imperfect competition. In some books, you will find this is two ways they divide them. One is perfect competition, another one is imperfect competition. And under imperfect competition, they talk about duopoly, oligopoly, monopoly, and monopolistic competition. These are the other things they talk about. So the perfect competition, I'll talk first. In perfect competition, what happens with the perfect competition, I'll talk about it first. So this says here, first thing is this. In perfect competition, it says this way, that we will say, or we will call a market is a perfectly competitive market. Okay. A market is a perfectly competitive market, okay, where they will be selling all the products which are identical. They are identical, number one. Second one is that price will be determined by the market. Okay. Price will be determined by the market. When you say market, okay, when I say market, I mean the demand and supply. When I say demand and supply, demand, I'm referring to a group of people who are my consumers. And when I say supply, I mean the producers. So producers, the sellers, and buyers, these 2 groups will determine the price. Now, let me make it a little bit more clear about it. It's not very clear, to be honest, what I want it to mean. You might misunderstand what I am saying, misinterpret this. Let me make it clear a little bit more. So in that situation, don't try to think, oh, well, a buyer will come and meet a seller, and the seller and buyer, they will fix up the price. No, it's not. It is not like that. So demand of the product, the market will decide. It's not about one farm. When I talk about market, I mean demand and supply. And demand, I mean the consumer side, and supplier, I mean the producer side. When I say consumer, I mean when I say consumer of a market, okay, it means all the buyer of that market. Let's say Australian, let's say automobile market. So what do I mean? When I say Australian automobile market, I mean all those people in Australia who drives automobile car, they're the consumers of Australia and they're the buyer. That's what I mean, the demand. That's where the demand coming from. And now if you talk from the producer perspective, the producers are coming where they're actually selling it. Producers are selling it. When producers are selling it, okay, when producers are selling this item, that time we mean that all the seller, automobile seller of Australia, we mean the whole country is our market that time. If I say just NSW market, I mean all the buyer and seller of NSW only. If you say global market, we mean the whole world. So market is referring to, some people might say, are you meaning the area or a continent or a country? You can say country, we call it an economy. Each country, we call it an economy. A country is known as an economy. That's true. I would rather say the buyer and seller of that specific area, I mean the buyer and seller of that specific area. All right, guys. Now let's move on. So when I say that perfect competition, I mean in a perfect competitive market or in a perfect competition market structure, all the sellers will be selling the identical product, buyers will be also buying the same thing. Price of the good will be depending on the demand and supply of the goods. That's what we mean by market. Then if you talk about what other qualities they might have, there will be no barriers to enter into the market or to exit out of the market. No pressure. Anytime, more than welcome. Join the market. You want to go, go. You might start to think now, who has started the business earlier, they might be having some better opportunities or better advantages in there. In fact, it's not. The characteristics of perfect competition will be there is no advantageous position for the early beginner or early starter of the business. No benefit, they don't get it. In that case, you can see the market is very competitive. That's why we say the market is very competitive. Out of the 4 things I said, there will be many buyers, many sellers, number of firms, there will be many, very or many. Freedom of entry, unrestricted, no barriers to enter into the market. What type of product they're gonna sell? Identical or undifferentiated. Example, tomatoes, carrots, right? Tomatoes, carrots, avocado, all the commodity agricultural items are actually same. Right? These things are known as perfect competitions. Any questions for me, guys? Any questions for me?
No.
No, all good. Yeah, so if you guys sometimes respond like this, yes or no, I will be happy. Thank you. And the price, the firm is the price taker. That means market decide the price and the firm may take the price, whatever the market decides. This is your perfect competition. Now, if you ask me about questions about monopoly, same way I will go on the 4 points. Number of firms in monopoly, only one seller, lots of buyer, right? Only one seller, lots of buyer, that is monopoly. Freedom of entry? No, freedom of entry is restricted, or there are barriers, okay, to enter into the market. What type of barriers it might include? A huge capital is needed. When you want to enter into the market, the monopoly businessman, what they have done, they have already protected their copyrights. Royalty, they have protected these things. Technically, they're keeping themselves in monopoly position. Now, this is actually monopoly. Then what else he has? What type of goods? Differentiated goods. Differentiated product they will be selling. Okay, unique product or differentiated product they will sell. This is a monopoly. Examples? Yeah. In Australia, you can say big monopolist, which one is that? Bunnings, I would say. Others are not. That Mighty 10 is there, but not as competitive as like Bunnings. Prescription drugs. Yes, drugs, only one company sell those things. Then, yeah. Okay. And what else? Items, I told you the example I gave you. Yeah, that's it for monopoly. These two I will talk when they comes up, like monopolistic competition and oligopoly. We'll talk about it, I think. We'll talk about it next week, I believe. We'll talk about imperfect competition. We'll talk about it next week. Let's move on. That's our defined market structure. Now, that's what they're talking in here. Assumptions about perfectly competitive market. They will say the same thing. So perfectly competitive market is a hypothetical market. It doesn't have a market structure where many firms selling a homogeneous product or a large number of buyers. Agricultural product, financial product also the example. Exchange rate, these things are perfectly competitive, right? Characteristics, yeah, selling the same product, large number of buyers and sellers. Information, oh, okay, this one is, I did not talk. Perfect information about the price and the product. These will be actually perfect information. The buyers and seller, both the item, they knows very well about the product and the price. They're well informed about this one. No barriers, prices from, yeah, I already discussed all this. Now I will talk about here. Okay, so this is for the industry, I mean the market. Okay. Left-handed picture of the screen. This one is about industry. It's mentioned their industry. And here is mentioned about the farm. Okay. So you're saying here that industry understands, it's very simple. Demand and supply is there. So the price will be coming in here as the equilibrium point. Equilibrium price is in here. And we know our equilibrium quantity will be here. We understand this part, the industry point of view. That's okay. We understand that. Do you guys understand this one? The left industry point of view, how the perfect competition works? The same, exactly the same thing as it is as in any other normal goods. But the problem comes up when you talk about a specific farm. A specific farm. Okay. In a specific farm, if you talk about, okay, so this is our demand curve. Our demand curve, do you see it's a slope? But here it's not slope in a farm. It is a horizontal line. And this line is representing your demand, average revenue, marginal revenue, price, everything. Okay, on this line. So what about the quantity is? Okay. What are the quantities is supplied? It doesn't matter. Demand remains the same. Okay. All right. Now, we'll talk here first about short-run profit under the conditions of perfect competition. Okay, we'll talk about it. All right. So as we said before, as I already discussed, I told you these things before, that in a perfect competitive market, price will be equal to your marginal revenue, marginal cost, even it will be also equal to your marginal cost curve too. All of them will be on one line will show everything. This line will show average revenue, marginal revenue, demand. Okay, then marginal cost also will be shown by the same. But you can see average cost is different. Average cost has nothing to do with this. Okay, average cost is different. All right. So when you have a demand curve like this, horizontal demand curve, can anybody tell me what type of elasticity it will have? Can anyone tell me what type of elasticity it will have?
Hello, Mohammed.
Yes, Hang?
Just normal elastic.
It will be perfectly elastic.
Oh.
Like this demand curve, this is elastic. You can say it is flat.
Yeah.
If it is steeper, then we know this is inelastic.
Yeah.
But when a horizontal line is there, okay,
That's perfect.
Perfect.
Okay.
Elastic. Perfectly elastic. So when the perfectly elastic, it means, what does it mean? It means that if you change the price a little bit, nobody's going to buy it from you. Same avocado, same size, same color. Why you will charge more? What specialty you have in your product? Nothing. Okay. Their product is not unique or differentiated product. The product is very undifferentiated. Indifferent, they're same product, identical product. So there's no point of increasing the price. So when they increase the price even 10 cents, people are not going to buy it. You buy it from another place. Okay. So, but think about this way. At this price, another interesting thing, as much as the consumer wants, supplier ready to pay, ready to supply. Because it doesn't matter what is the price, what is the quantity they take, the price remains the same. If they buy in bulk, again, the same thing. Okay. And another part is this. Another part is this, that I wish I could draw one line in here. And I will show you in here. I think this is the one they have showed you here. We see this later than the marginal cost line is in here. Okay. And always remember that a farm will be always producing where the marginal cost and marginal revenue can intersect. So if I go in here, I wish I could draw a line. I think I'll try. I'll give it a go. I'll try it. So let's say this is your marginal cost curve, is this one. Okay. It should not be actually like this. It should be actually. Let me. It will show like this way. Like this. Okay. Maybe a little bit curvy, not much. Anyway. All right. So they showed in here. Yes, they have showed it. Now you can look at here. Let me make it bigger. You guys can see. How do I mean? Let's make it bigger. So you can see from these curves, this is your equilibrium point. Now, if I draw one more line in here, let me draw one more line in here and I will show you how it affects. Let's say we are going to draw a line. I'm going to draw this green line in here. For example, if the farms wants to, let's say wants to produce at this quantity they want to produce. Not this one, but they want to produce at this level in green point. That's not they want to produce. Interesting thing here is that, look, here they are not going to produce. Why? Because at this point, you can see this blue line where the green line intersect at this point, okay? The average variable cost is higher than the marginal cost. So marginal cost is low. They will keep producing more. Okay. So average variable cost is high than the marginal cost. Now you can ask me a question, why we'll have to produce our average cost is low? Because marginal cost means to produce one extra unit. Whatever you have done that in the past. You want to produce one extra unit. Now the question is, one extra unit, will the marginal cost means to produce one extra unit. So to produce one extra unit, okay, how much it's going to cost? It is costing me less than my average variable cost. Yes, we're going to produce that. They keep producing it. How much, how far they produce, how long they produce, they keep producing it. Okay, keep producing. This much they will produce. Why they will not produce more than this? If they produce more than this at E point, you see, marginal cost is higher than average cost. That's not good. Costing is high. So that's not good. Marginal cost is high. Okay, which means that so far all the items you have produced, the average costing is, let's say, $3. Now, if you want to produce one extra unit, it will cost you $3.75 extra. It will cost. Are you going to produce that? No. The average cost is going to increase later on. You're not going to produce. So you'll be producing where? At this point. Okay. Remember this. All right. So farm will produce a level of output at which the additional revenue received from the last unit sold will be higher than the costing. Okay. At least it will cover your marginal revenue, will cover in your marginal cost at least. That time you have to check how much is the price. If the price is a little bit high, yes, you might think about producing. Okay. The price is high. So if it happens that your price and the quantity, both of them are in this point, yeah, you will produce that. Because the expense that you are having, it is being covered by the sales. Okay. And supply curve, marginal curve is the same line. Marginal cost curve is your supply curve. Okay. That's what we mean here. So marginal cost curve is supply curve. In the long run, supply curve is a straight line, a vertical line in the long run. Okay. Long run supply curve, it will be a vertical line. Okay. So, and here as well, like you remember, the marginal cost curve is your supply curve. Here you can see MC equal to S, marginal cost curve equal to supply curve. Okay. All right, so let's move on. I think that's all what I've discussed. That's all they're going to talk in here. Okay. The short-term demand curve is perfectly elastic. Yes, consumers willing to buy the preferred funds. Okay, the same thing. Now, how about the profit level? Okay, let's talk about profit level. So you can see here, the profit is saying here is this. Look, case A, economic growth, economic profit we talk about. So you can see here this is your marginal cost curve. You see the blue line, that's marginal cost line. Okay, let's say your production is at this point. You're producing this much in here. Okay, let me make it a little more. All right, let's see if I can do it better. Let me see. Here. All right, I hope it will be better than before. Now you can see here, if they produce at this level, see marginal cost is in here, but your average cost is in here. Marginal cost is higher than the average cost. Okay, that's fine. Now I would like to see what about my revenue. So here is my revenue line is in this case, revenue line. So you try to understand it here that this firm is not going to produce more than this line. If they produce at this point, for example, at this point, you can see marginal cost is higher than the revenue, marginal revenue. You see MR, this is the MR. So marginal revenue is lower than the marginal cost if they produce more than this point. So the firm is not going to actually produce at this point. They will produce in B. Okay. Any questions for me in this at this point, guys? Anybody? Now, if you do not have questions, then that's fine. Now I will say this way. Now, if you look at this line in here, look at average cost is this much. This is my average costing. And this is my revenue. My revenue is higher than my costing. How much? By this much. See? Okay. So you can see here, this is my quantity sold. And in each quantity I sell, I make this much of profit. So this much multiplied by this one, the area we will receive, okay, the area we're going to receive, this area will be our profit area. I should use a green color. So this is our profit. That's much is our profit. Because our revenue at here, look at here, P at 110 is our P price. Our average costing is actually 77.3. That's the average costing. So to every product, we are going to make a profit of 110 minus 77.3 on one product. So how about 8 product? So 110 minus 77.3, that's our costing, multiplied by 8 product. This will be the green rectangle you can see. This will be your profit. Is this clear to you all? Is this clear to you all, guys?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Now let's move on then. Let's move to the next one. So now if it happens that if I want to show you a loss, I will have to show you that our average cost is above our marginal revenue. Then only you can make it. You can show a loss. I think they did it. Yeah, here you go. They did it. Look at the green line, that's marginal cost curve. And look at average cost curve. And look at marginal revenue. So revenue is in here. You see AR, the blue line, that's your revenue. But if you look at the cost, if you want to produce at QE, your costing is in here. You see AC. You see that on every product you make, average revenue is higher. Or marginal revenue is higher than the average cost. This is your profit too. Okay. But if you produce at this point, look at here. if you produce at this point, you have a loss. Why? Because at this point, okay, your average costing is higher. See it here? Average costing is higher than the marginal revenue. You will have a loss. This is the problem here. Okay. All right. Now the next question comes up. Here, they showed it in here. That's the loss. You can say average revenue is in, average cost is in here, and average revenue is in here. So you guys are having a loss. It's shown in here. So your average cost curve will have to be lower than your marginal cost curve. That's the point of the price level. So the price line should be set up above your average cost curve. Then you make the profit, otherwise. Now, what the farm is going to do? So now we talk about long run. Okay, let's talk about long run. In the long run, equilibrium under profit competition. You can see in the long run, average revenue will be actually. You could hit average revenue. You can see that these ones. So this is actually in short run, and when you go in this side, this is long run. Okay. That's your long run. So here they try to show you here, this is your demand line is in here. When in the long run supply will be increasing, when the supply increases, it will go down. Like look at here, for the industry point of view, we look at that. So this is the blue line is your demand curve, and this blue line is your supply curve. So these are the equilibrium point. In the long run, supply will increase definitely. When the supply increased, so shifted to the right, you can see when the supply increases, price will drop. So the price has dropped, new equilibrium position is in here. That is from the industry point of view. But you look at the farm's point of view, that demand curve was in here. Now the demand has gone down. From the farm's point of view. Now you can ask me a question that why the demand will go down for a farm? Because in perfect competition, lots of new farm will be coming and going. So your demand will always not, for your specific farm, the demand is not always intact. What you have to do, you have to always pamper your customer and make them loyal to buy from you, because every customer is important here, because all the farms are providing the same item with the same price. So why someone will buy from you? Because of your good behavior, because of your relationship with your customer, because the customers are loyal to you. That's why they will come to you, not because of price, not because of quality, because they get the same quality from the same other shops. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about, when do we actually shut down a business, and when do we exit the business? Okay. Shut down and exit is not the same thing in economics. Okay. So when you talk about shut down, it means that you are closing the business for some reasons. You are closing the business for sure, for some reasons. If you see that your total revenue is greater than your total variable cost, if it happens that, look, a business will have two different types of costing they will have, right? What are two different costing? One is fixed cost, and another one is variable cost. Okay, so fixed cost plus variable. This is it. So if it happens that your revenue can cover at least the fixed cost, variable cost, you keep continuing doing that. You keep continue making the production. If it happens that your total revenue is greater than total variable cost, so I write it down. I think you have it there in the next slide maybe. So if your total revenue is greater than total variable cost, the firm should continue to operate in the short term. And they will keep providing until it happens that your variable cost per unit is also not being covered by the revenue. One item you're going to produce is going to cost you $3, for example, but the price of that new item, one item is not $3, less than $3. It means you could not even cover your variable cost. When you cannot cover your variable cost, you should close the business for time being. Don't get out, shut down, shut it up for some time. We call that shut up. Okay, I'm sorry, shut down. We call it shut down of the business. Shut down the business for time being. When the price will be going high, that will cover their marginal cost. They will come back to the production again. How about exit? Exit means you leave the business and gone. Okay. If the price goes below average variable cost, the firm should leave the market, exit the market, they should go. Okay, because they know their goods will not be able to cover its expenses. It will not be able to cover the expenses. That's why you cannot continue. What expenses? Not even the variable cost. Okay. When you will see that the price goes below minimum of average variable cost. So let's go back to our slides. When you will see that it's going down below average variable cost. In the long run average cost, if it goes below this line, if the price is going below this red line, you should exit the market. If it happens that the price in the market is actually equal to your average revenue or a marginal cost, you can still continue. But if you find that the minimum average cost, like this in the bottom line in here, if the price goes below this, you cannot continue to production anymore. You will have to exit the market. So that's what I think, that's what they will be discussing in here. Okay. So is perfect competition good for the consumers? Yes, the perfect competition is good for the consumers because there will be less price, there will be no economic profit, and end of the day, they will have a good quality because they can only after sales service, good quality, this type of things the customers will get. And this is important. Okay, that's important. All right. And e-commerce, because of global competition and e-commerce, because internet is very available now, these things is making the market very competitive. These things are making the market very competitive. When you say making the market very competitive, like everybody knows everything, where that is coming from, where that is being sold into, how much is the cost. Most of the people knows the secrets of the business. Okay. And it said the internet is making the market for many goods and services increasing competitive. So they're increasing the number of the firm, improving the knowledge of the prices and reducing the barriers to entry. Okay. Now let's talk about monopoly. I think it's mentioned there. If the price falls below, if price falls below the minimum of average variable cost, the loss may exit of the firm of the industry. The firm will close their business and go away. Now, if we talk about monopolies, I have already discussed about monopoly a little bit. What I said about monopoly is that there will be only one seller but lots of buyer. There will be only one seller, but there will be lots of buyer. The product is unique. The product is very special, very different. And monopoly market, they decide their own price. They make their own price. They don't care about the market. They don't care about them. They make their own price. There are problems in entering into the market, barriers, plenty, yes. For economies of scale, back purchase, for a lot of various reasons, they will create some barriers to enter into the market. And they are the price maker. They decide their own price. And here is this. You can see the marginal costing here. This is marginal revenue curve. And this is the average revenue curve. And this is also our demand curve. All right, so this is also a demand curve. This is our marginal revenue curve. This is marginal cost curve. So the rule of thumb is that how much this monopoly company will be producing. This monopoly company will be producing where the marginal cost and marginal revenue intersected. Where the marginal revenue, marginal cost intersect, which is this point. You can understand very easily the farm is going to produce this much, this point. Okay. They are producing this much. So they are not producing, like MC is the supply, they're not producing the supply and the air demand. No, they are not producing at the efficiency. It's called the efficient point because this is supply, this is demand. Where the demand and supply meet, that's the point known as equilibrium. So this point is equilibrium. All right. How do they make money? Here we go. So this is the thing, you can see that this is the thing is a marginal cost curve, is marginal revenue curve, two red lines where they intersect at this point. So this is the quantity. Okay. So from this quantity, where is the price? Price you can find out from this demand curve in here. That's the average revenue from this quantity. Okay. All right. Now you can see again the marginal at this point, so that they're producing at this point. You can see there at this point, demand is in here. Okay. And average costing for the demand, costing for the goods. You can see is lower. Average cost is lower than the average revenue. They will be making profit. Right? They will be making profit. If this company has produced, according to the efficient level, they have to produce at this point. They will produce in what? This point. Yeah, they produce. Okay. this company is supposed to make this much of profit. I'll show you. The price was supposed to be at this point. See that? But look, since they are not putting, they are not supplying at this much, they're supplying less than that. So they can say that this is the extra price they're selling. Monopoly price, extra monopoly parts. Okay. So this says AR average revenue falls under monopoly, thus marginal revenue is less than average revenue. Okay, average revenue falls under the monopoly. Okay. Average revenue falling under the monopoly problem, and it's a supernormal profit. They mean that here market can be persist in the long run, marginal revenue in the long run. So now you can see that they can charge a little bit extra. Let's say which best serves as consumer interest, monopoly or profit competition? What do you guys think? As a customer, what do you think? Which one is better for you, monopoly or profit competition?
Perfect competition.
Absolutely. And monopoly prices now to both in the short run and long run. So higher prices or lower output is equal to price maker. Higher prices and lower output will make the price. Okay. Cost under monopoly, cost may be higher because barrier of entry, barriers to entry. So look, the product, they try to keep it very unique and very special, differentiated product. So to do these things, they have to do a lot of things. They have to do different types of lobbying. They have to make the government to understand why they need to be protected. So there are a lot of money is going in there. So they need to make the government understand why their existence is necessary. And they need to pay a lot of money to the lobbyists and parliamentarians to maintain their monopoly. And also normally this type of monopoly will be only for those type of businesses who has a very high capital demand. Those companies will be doing these things. Okay. All right, profit competition is the price taker, but monopoly is the price maker. And in monopoly, you can make supernormal profit, you can make good profits. So the look at here. The equilibrium is in here. Q2, that's the equilibrium because demand curve and supply curve intersect at this point. This was supposed to be our equilibrium. But that monopoly thinks, no, I'm not going to produce at Q2, I'm going to produce it at this point. Okay. All right, so you can see here, the price here is P2, but the price they're actually charging is P1. Higher price they're charging. So if they have produced at Q2 quantity, so they're producing more and selling also at a lower price, they don't like it. Since they are becoming the monopoly in the market, okay, they can control the price. What they're going to do, they are actually going to produce Q1, Q3. At this point, they're going to produce. And they're going to charge P1. Right? Now the question is it increasing their revenue or decreasing? Okay, we have to check it out. We're doing the calculation. But from this diagram we have drawn, I can see they are losing a bigger portion. They're losing this much and adding this much. I can see they're losing bigger portion and adding this portion. Yeah. Oh, we're almost done. Just 1 hour. Okay, contestable market. Importance of potential competition. This is Real threat of competition is the main factor determining the price and output of the market structure. How much you're going to produce, it depends on the competition in the market. It says, real threat of competition is the main factor of determining the price and output of a market structure. A perfectly contestable market is where there is a free and costless entry and exit. Contestable is entering and exiting. There is no fee, no cost is involved. But is it possible in monopoly? No, it's only possible in perfect competitive market. That's why they try to say contestable market. And then contestable market and national monopoly. Then why are the market not perfectly competitive? Why do they remain monopoly? Because of the size of the market. Monopolies do not have a very big market. They have a small market, but they will be the only one who will be supplying all those products. And the product will be very unique product, special product, unique product. And not everybody can actually supply them the same product. That's how they maintain their monopoly. Okay. All right. There is not much things in this chapter in here. Okay, I would like to talk to you guys about assignment. Do you guys have any questions for me before I start talking about the assignment?
No.
Let me talk about the assignment. Assignment. I think this thing will be available to you guys from 13th of December, after 13th. 2 weeks, 1 week actually. Here is our assignment, you can see. All right, so what you have to do, assignment consists of 4 questions. Okay. 4 questions are in here. You should allocate at least half a page or 250 words on each. You may refer to academic literature and textbook to help answer the questions. You must write your answers in Microsoft Word document and submit it online views on before the due date. You should provide a reference list if you used, and if you have used anything. Plagiarism is forbidden, and assignment will not be electronically checked for plagiarism before they are not. So we're going to check your plagiarism situation, how much you have copied, how much has been plagiarized. So there will be, like you guys have done these things in time meeting, you will have a report in time meeting. And note, Wikipedia and anonymous amateur blog should not be used as reference for definition like basic concepts. The first protocol should be a textbook, already look at the text. So here are your 4 questions you can see here. In demand and supply diagram, show how the effect of this following events in the market for woolen jumpers. What happens to about the fishermen? It's sort of like same as you your workshop questions, quiz questions. Okay. All right, so we will have to do this thing. So you have to draw me a diagram. Outbreak of full foot and mouth disease. This shift comes in New Zealand. What's going to happen to their woolen jumper market? So you have to give me a diagram and explain what you understand. How did you do this? Question number 2. Here you're talking about they're giving you some data about hours of fish record. What is the marginal product of each hour spent fish or marginal? How do you calculate marginal? Every 1 extra hour, how much extra fish you are getting? So it will be first hour was 0. So 0 hour, 0 fish. 1 hour, 10 fish. 2 hour, 18 fish. What about the second hour? 8 fish in the second. Okay. Third hour, you can see 6. 4th hour, 4. 5th hour, 2. That's the way to catch the fish. here to show it in another column you can make on the side in here. Like you can go like you can copy this, that's okay. You go right. Right down here, marginal. You can see marginal product is reducing. The more hours you're spending, the marginal product is reducing. Anyway, you have to like explain the shape. So the graph will show you how it's reducing. So you can see that from there. And there will be more explanation about it. This question number, the cost of producing TVs has fallen subsequently over the past decades. So let's consider some indications of this supply and demand diagram. Okay. To show the effect of falling production cost on the price and quantity of TV. So since I think you guys already have enough time to do it at home, I prefer you to do it at home because you have more than 4 or 5 weeks left. Another one is in here. This is about tax. Maybe you can, maybe you don't understand this one at this moment. You get a little bit more time. I will say that. So wait for this one. Maybe next week or week after you can actually do this. Things you can do after you do the tax. So let me see how you work tax. Tax. That's the city. It will be coming from here. Not this. It will be coming. We'll talk about taxation in these chapters. Like before the break, you can do that. Multi-field government actions. Next week, and there you go. So chapter 7 will be like chapter 7. So tax you'll understand. I didn't do the tax yet. So after you do the tax, then we can talk about it. All right. Any questions for me, guys?
Not from me.
I just showed you that what type of questions have been allocated on your assignments. That you will get this access. You will find these things on after 13th of December. If you guys have no questions for me.
When is the assignment available?
The submission.
Or like when is the assignment open and then we can start doing it? Or
13th of December.
is it already open?
So if you go on the assignment link, it will tell you individual assignment. It will tell you item is hidden from student. It will be available for after these dates. So 13th
Okay.
of December, it will be available for you guys to have a look. Okay. After that, you can submit it in here. The submission, so you can submit to turn it in. So your submission deadline is in here. And here you go. You just submit it in here. That's it. First name, last name, submission title, and choose from the reference. When is your due date? I think due date is on. You should do that. That we didn't mention you can do this. Due date is this day. So due date is 9th of January. It will be, you will be working on around, I think, how many labs? 50 minus 16 plus 11, 27 plus here is another 23. So yeah, 50 marks. Out of 50 marks, I will consider only 20% I will take. Yeah. Anything else, guys?
Hello, Mohammed.
Yes.
Is the exam similar to the assessment?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Is the exam like the whole lot? Like, you know,
I
the whole
haven't
textbook?
finished the exam questions yet, to be honest. That's why I can't guarantee you anything. I haven't done the exam question yet. So I don't know, to be honest. I did not finish making exam paper yet.
Okay. All right. Cool.
But it will be sort of like this. Yeah. All right. Now let's do our attendance then. All right. So here, Hopkins here. Keenan Hopkins.
Yeah, we.
Thank you very much. Milad.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Milad. Then this is Sharman Lopez. Sharman. And this is Nancy Nguyen. Nancy. And this is Kokpan, this is Hang, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Kokpan, yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Cabin Selvan. Cabin Selvan. No. Charlie Wu.
Yeah.
Charlie is in here. Then Aviraj Hanja.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Aviraj. And Udanta. Udanta Sriya Kankani. Udanta? No?
Yes, sir, present. Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
I like to see you guys again on next week and see.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much. You guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you.